Hey, it's been a while since I vlogged. Today I was sitting here and thinking about I really should start documenting a lot of things just for memory's sake. Maybe to share with other people, show them what's going on because there's a lot of people that I'm hiding this from. And quite honestly, I feel like anybody with a conscience, with morals and values, might have the balls to actually speak up and call out wrong from right. I did a little bit of writing, and so I kind of want to fill in the blank of what has been happening. Yeah, and as far as what led to the breakup. So I'll first I'm gonna start with like right before the breakup. So it was during 2016. Basically, 2016 was a very difficult year for us, and this is because, and it's not so much it was difficult for myself and my wife, it was the house in general because we have my 17-year-old son from a different relationship in the mix, and he's 17, he's a teenager. Um, and you know how it is. Everyone knows how they were when they were that age. You were definitely not easy to get along with, and so he's been very, very difficult. He caused a lot of extra stress in the house, and that's not to say that he's to blame for our breakup. But that did put a lot of stress on our relationship. When there was problems there, and then that came in and made things even worse than they already were. Anyways, moving along from that, it was a very stressful year. All right, we had a lot of fighting. And then, it wasn't even fighting with me and her. It was a lot of fighting with me and him. And she just had to hear it. And she was sick of hearing it. And it was stressful. Understandable. Um, anyways, I am actually a YouTuber. And for the past few years, I've been really grinding and trying to pursue a career, not in YouTube, because YouTube is not, I don't see it as being a career. But actually in gaming in general, like I've been making a lot of network like connections, networking. I had to land on a few different guys from different companies, and the thing is I could never pursue that wholeheartedly because I have a day job and I still have my bills to pay. Um, Anyways, I had a really big project. Anyone that's a gamer, Zelda, came out in March, and I let her know, from March until this, I'm going to be very busy. Like, we're not going to have any time together. Um, and that should be understandable because at the same time, throughout her schooling to become a nurse, it was the exact same way for her. She barely had any time for us. She didn't have any time for a friend. She barely had time for us. Anyway, so I let her know between March and however long it took me to finish this project, I was not going to have any time, right? Um, and you could tell it was starting to wear on her that we weren't spending any time together. And honestly, I had not opened up about this to her, but like I'd say about April, I was like, things have to change between her and I. Like, we're not getting enough time together. I'm feeling a little bit of a disconnect. Like, I love her and I want things to change. I like, it really made me reevaluate myself, and I was thinking, you know what, this is it. This is my swan song for projects. This will be my resume for the future. I'm not working on anything else after this. Like, this is what I show to people to get me a job, and that's it. um Side note, I never finished that project because all this happened. Anyways, so, this is how I was feeling in April. May comes along, and I could tell she was visibly upset, and she kind of was saying a few things, and she suggested that we go on a small little like 2 day trip, and I'm like, hey, hell yeah, like I'm very down for that. I'm hell like very busy, but you know what? It that sounded great to get away from everything that I was doing and spend time with her. Sounded very awesome. Definitely something I wanted to do. Um, as we got closer to that trip, she kind of started feeling like more visibly upset and stuff to the point where she was just like, now's not a good time to go on that trip. And when she told me that, I'm just like, look, I love you. Like, I've been looking forward to this. I've been busting my butt so much. Like, I really want to get away from everything and I want to spend time with you. So when I said that, she was like, okay, let's go. You little puppy. I was like, okay, let's go. Or no, she was like, okay, let's go. Sorry. Um, so we go on this trip, in May, and during the trip, she was quiet, but she was nothing but loving to me. Like cuddles, kisses, hugs, being intimate, telling me that she loves me. Uh, we had one moment where it was a misunderstanding and it turned into something a little more than it should have, but it was not that big of a deal. It just, but like I feel like any slight thing at that point was a big deal, which was silly, even though it wasn't a big deal. Basically, my brain surgery made it to where I have bad hearing in my right ear. We're in a very loud place, and I couldn't hear. And she was trying to say one thing, and I'm just like, she was trying to choose food. Well, you know how women are in food. Come on, they're very indecisive. I'm like, look, baby, just get what you get whatever. You know what I like, just get it. This is what I want. But if you want something else, get it. And she kept persisting, and I can't hear, and I'm just like, look. I got loud. I'm like, look, just get whatever. And I walked away. So you could tell I was visibly upset, right? And what made me more upset about the situation was the fact that I knew that this was something that she could draw upon of me being not being able to control my anger or whatever. Like I knew that that would be used against me, even though that's not what I wanted. It's just like I got put in a situation where like, what am I supposed to do? If I just walk away and don't say anything, I look like a complete asshole, right? So it's just I was just loud about it because we were in a loud place and I couldn't hear and whatever. So we go out there. I apologize and I explained exactly that to him. I'm like, look, babe, we're in a spot where I can't hear, and I had to yell. I'm sorry if you misinterpreted it that one way. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Anyways, that was the one little incident during the entire trip. I thought the trip was great. I love spending time with her, being intimate, being loving and affectionate. It was all nice. Um, we walked the shoreline the next day of the ocean, and then we get in the car and head home. Um, we stop in, oh gosh, I forget what they are called now. I'm bringing the Nut Tree. I think that's in Vacaville. The outlets, right? Like a mall outlet thing. We stopped there and do a little shopping, split up, do a little shopping, and then like we're getting ready to meet up. And I just want to bring this up. I see where she's walking from. She's walking from a very far store, and I'm near the car, and like something I always remember. It's just like watching her walk and just remembering how beautiful. Like I'm just like, oh, I love her so much. So we get in the car and we're driving home, and I'm telling her I love her, and also trying not to get motion sick because it seems like I seem to get motion sick in the car lately. Anyways, she grabs my hand and holds my hand, and she knows that I don't like holding hands. Just in general, I just don't like holding hands. But it's her. I love her. I'm going to hold her hand, even if I don't like it. So, she's holding my hand and telling me she loves me. A day later after that trip, she says that she still feels like things aren't right and she needs some space. And, it's kind of difficult to give her that space living under the same roof, but I tried as much as I could. Um, and a few days go by, and she says she doesn't want to be together anymore. And I was genuinely confused because nothing that I can put my finger on that would make me say, hey, this is definitely why we should not be together. There's nothing that I can think of that would be like red flag. We should not be. We need to break up. Okay. So I was completely caught off guard, extremely emotional. Obviously, it had a huge emotional impact on me. Um, it was just so unexpected. Um, so I confront her about it and question her about it. She gets emotional as well. After like an hour or so of talking about this, she agrees to try to work on things with me. Um, and yeah, another few days went by, and I'm kind of essentially walking on eggshells. I hate that term. You know, we watch some TV. She gets me into a show that she thinks that I'll like, that she likes. So I'm like, sure. Um, and I ended up loving it. Anyways, we're doing dinners together. Like, and one of the things that I wanted to do more of is she wants me to be more adventurous with things. And that's exactly what it was. I brought home Indian food. Like, I'm never known to like try new things or whatever, and I bring home some random food that like she's never expected. I tried some at a buddy's house, and I was like, this is actually pretty good. I'm gonna bring this back to the house. I get some, and I bet she'll love it, and she'll be surprised that I bring this home to her. So I bring that home to her, and a little bit more space the next few days. Few more days go by, and she says she's still feeling the same way. Again, we get emotional and we talk and agree to work on things. And that happens a few more times over the course of like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, I think. Um, okay. So one night she decides that she's going out to the club. Now, any other night, this is completely okay with me. But with what had been going through at the time, I felt really uneasy about it. And I told her how I felt. I told her that I'm like, this doesn't really, I don't feel really comfortable with this. Like, considering what we're going through right now, I really don't think that going to a club is really something you should be doing. But I'm not gonna say, like, I'm not gonna control her and say she can't go. If she wants to go, and she's gonna go. Like, nobody's gonna stop her, right? So, she's like, I'm gonna go. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just letting you know how I feel about it. And then I say, look, if you need to ride home, I'm willing to come pick you guys up, and just get right, Uber there or whatever you can do, and I'll come get you guys, no problem. Just give me a call. And she's like, okay, things are looking good at that point. And then she like, I think I think I texted her about like 1:30, almost 2 a.m. because the clubs closed at like 1:32 or whatever. And I'm like, hey, let me know if you need a ride home or what time you want me to come get you. And then she texts me back, no thanks, I got it, whatever. I'm like, okay, just let that go. 4 a.m. comes around, and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Where are you? And I forget what she texted me back, but it was something really like, oh, we're on our way home, whoop, whoop, whoop de whoop, whatever. So she gets home, and I'm hoping to talk to her a little bit when she gets home. But her friend comes in, and apparently her friend's staying the night, and apparently I'm sleeping on the couch. Mind you, I had been sleeping on the couch for like the past week. Um, but her friend comes over, and she's staying over, and I'm like, I would like to talk to you, like. Anyways, she won't talk to me. I go in the bedroom. Her friend is pretending to sleep, which is that just corny and like, come on, you're not drunk. Anyways, um, so her friend's sitting there listening to this entire conversation while she's keeping her eyes closed, pretending to be asleep, drunk, asleep, whatever. That's silly. So I'm like, look, I love you. We gotta figure out some way to fix this. And she's like, Joel, don't do this in front of my friend. I'm like, Mila, come on. Like, it's fine. She like I didn't say she was pretending to be asleep at that point. I was just like, whatever. She's drunk. She's sleeping. But I mean, deep down, I knew, and it was confirmed later that that's what she was doing. But I'm like, look, I love you. Like, we just have to come to like this is the way you're acting. This is not okay. How are we supposed to work things out when you're acting this way? And she just kept, no, no, don't do this right now. Don't do this right now. And I'm just like, I got fed up. I'm like, just come out there and talk to me. So she comes out there and talk to me for a little bit, brushes me off, and I come back in the bedroom and I'm just like, talk to me, and she's brushing me off again, and so I just slam the door and grab my keys to my truck and get in the truck, take off, call my buddy to see if he will let me crash this place. He doesn't pick up, so I ended up coming back home and just crashing on the couch. Um, we talk about it the following day. Of course, it's emotional again. Agree to work on things again. Okay, so the next day comes and she's back to I don't want to make the effort and whoop de whoop. And she locks the door on me and will not let me talk to her. And, you know, she really sets me off emotionally. She keeps saying love. What if love is not enough? And well, some people will say that yeah, love is not enough to work out for a relationship. You're right. There is work that has to be involved. But if there's love involved, then if there's love, you should be willing to try to work things out. Regardless, there's always a way to fix things. You just can't be a quitter. Anyways, she wouldn't let me talk to her, and it really weighed on me heavily emotionally. Like it really set me off. And I do have anger issues. In the past I've had anger issues, like where I like yell and stuff. Um, and nothing really physical. Um, but that night I was very emotionally distraught. I really was really hurt. God, it's an embarrassing time to look back on, but I got really angry, started flipping the coffee table, throwing things. Mind you, nobody's in the room but me. Okay, she's locked in the bedroom by herself, right? And I'm just like, I'm, I don't think anything of it except I'm just like trying to vent myself, right? Throw a chair at a bookshelf, put a big fat gash in it. Not Definitely not my proudest moment. That was really stupid. Yeah. She comes out, screams, "What are you doing? Stop, stop, you're scaring me." And I'm just like, I'm, what are you talking about scaring you? I wouldn't do anything ever to you. Like, she goes back in her room and I follow back in there to talk to her, and she's just like acting like I would physically do something to her, which is, don't take offense, but women tend to do that, like overreact that, and like I would never put a finger on her ever, and I never have. So it was an insult, but I didn't. I was just I all I did was just like, look, I love you. Don't stop thinking like that. I would never ever do something like that to you. Like I'm just so upset that like you're not allowing me to actually try to work on things, and mind you, this entire time she's being very limited with what she's telling me is a problem, and it's like what, like I don't really know truly what's going on because she's not giving me much to play with. Um, so yeah, that is that night. That night ends up going back to a we'll try thing again, right? So the next day comes along and everything's going smooth, right? And she goes to work, and I'm like, you know what? She's been talking about wanting Mr. Pickles for a while, and she's been craving it, so I'm going to bring that to her work. So I decide that I'm going to get flowers, and I'm going to get Mr. Pickles, and I'm going to bring that into her work. And I go in there, and she's not there. So I text her, and I'm like, hey, you're not at work? And she's like, oh my God, tell me you're not there. So I take a picture of me with some flowers, and I'm like, surprised. Um, and she's like, oh my God, never going to my work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she tries to call me. I ignore her because I'm upset because she's not there. She was actually at her sister's house. She took, before you get all like what the why is she not at work. She gets PTO so she can get time off. So obviously she's not feeling like she wants to go into work that day. She's gonna take PTO. She did, and she went to her sister's house to just catch some space and catch some air. Um, but I was still upset because she didn't even tell me she had PTO. She just like took off and act like she was going to work. It's understandable, but it's still upsetting. Anyways, I came back home. She came in and she got back and she was like, don't go into my work, do. And I'm just like, and then we went through the whole thing of getting emotional, agreeing that we'll try, and at this point I was really so emotionally broken down. Like I just wanted my wife back. We hadn't had any physical, like any kind of touch in like a week. We were so distant physically, and it was just like really, really bothering me. Side note, my love language, one of my top love languages is touch. So that you can, if you know anything about that, that really, really bothered me. Um, Anyways, so I kind of snuck into bed while she was sleeping, and just went to sleep by her. When we woke up, she woke up and she was like panicked. Like, I can't take it anymore. That's it. I'm leaving. Got a suitcase, started packing up. I'm like, she's like, you won't give me my space, mind you. Okay, she's not the entire time. I should rephrase. She's not like I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. She's just like, I want space, I want space, I want space. Which my dumb ass should have given her the space, but like my thing is this is fixable, and so why, like, I can give you some time apart, but let's figure out the root of this and try to fix this. Anyways, she's like, you're not giving me space. I'm going to my sister's house for a little bit. So she packs up her clothes, and I'm like, look, I didn't want to come to this. I will leave. I don't have, no, you won't leave. I keep telling you in space and you won't leave. So she packs up and she leaves. We text a little bit that night. I don't really remember what we text. It was vague. When she had left, she told me, tell my son that she will be back in a week. I'm like, okay. She left in tears. I was sad as well. Then the next day comes. I called in sick. I was home all day because I just didn't feel like going to work. She thinks I'm going to be at work. She comes over with her friend, Christina, and her sister with boxes. And they start packing everything up. And I'm like, panic mode beyond. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, you said you were gonna be gone for a week. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're overreacting. Like, and then I grew up very religious as well as she did. I want to say, she's younger. Religion to her has like been closer to her because she just, I don't know. I'll tell you this much. She's been a hell of a lot of a better Christian than I have been. Um, but I call her out on it, her sister is very religious, and I say, like, what does God have to say about all of this? Like in the Bible, it says that I know that God hates divorce. And in the Bible, the reasons for divorce are adultery and death. So her sister's there that's very religious, and so I call that out, and I'm like, Larissa, I mean, how God feels about divorce, and like, what are we doing here? Like, nothing has been done that would like say that this is okay. I did nothing to deserve this. Like, this is all stuff that can be worked out. Like, I mean, with, mind you, with the vague answer still on why she wants to separate, like very, very vague. And And a lot of people will say cheating, but will seeing somebody else or whatever, but that's not the case, and I'll touch on that later. Um, Anyways, I call her out on the whole religion thing. I'm like, God hates divorce, and the sister pretty much shuns me because, like, I'm not like the live by the book Christian that she believes I should be. Basically, judging me when the only person that can judge me or anyone else or her is God. So being very judgmental. And she just brushed me off. So I could tell that that was of no use. So I went back to Mila and I was just trying to, convince her that this was just a very rash decision. Um, and I had my first panic attack or anxiety attack or whatever where I was short on air. I fell down to my knees and had to brace myself on the wall. And um, she just she looked at me like, "Are you serious?" Like, yeah, yes, I'm serious. Like, this is really happening. Like, I didn't ask for this. Like, so I pull myself up and I go sit back on the couch and just wait. Her friend and her sister leave, and I start to walk Mila out to her car, trying to talk to her. We're both in tears again, mind you. And she's inside of her car, and she is like, I'm like, please don't do this. She's like, it's just gonna be for a week. You just grab your boxes. What? What are you talking about? And I'm like, please, like, can I hug you? And yeah, and she let me hug her. So I hug her, and we're just crying. I'm telling her how much I love her, and don't do this. And she took off, and you know, that hurt really bad. I didn't text her at all. And 3 hours later, she calls me up in tears, emotional as hell. And she's like, what are we doing? And I'm like, what do you mean, what are we doing? What do you mean? Like, I didn't do anything. Like, all I'm doing is asking you to stop doing this. Like, this is all fixable. Like, just calm down. Like, she's like, and I'm like, look, just stay at your house for the week that you said you were going to stay there. Get some space, but then let's spend some time together and let's work on things. And she's like, yeah, okay. And it's corny, but I'm like, let's go do something. What do you want to go do? She's like, oh, can we go see a movie? I'm like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. What do you want to see? She's like, I want to see Wonder Woman. I'm like, that's fine by me. So we set a date up, and we're gonna go see a movie that following Tuesday. And of course, the next day comes around, and she texts me, I still feel the same way. And that's how she left.